I know you have to talk about the AMA in a second, but let's talk about some breadcrumbs for the House of Cards Part 2.
Yeah. So actually, I think probably a good way to tangent that, if you don't mind, is to kind of give a little spoiler for the AMA tomorrow.
Sure.
And then go from there to talk about some of those breadcrumbs. So we are very excited, moderators with Super Stomp. We're stoked. We're stomped, and it is it's really, really cool to see her follow up with us. It's like when you reach out to someone and most of the time, you feel like you're almost intruding on someone's time when you have to ask them to come on and do an AMA, and they have to like kind of fit you into their schedule.
Right.
But this scenario was like totally different. It was almost like within a day. I mean, the post went up about the House of Cards. The following day or shortly after, somebody posted that thing about, like, if you think that post was great, then look at this. This author who wrote the same exact thing and has been talking about this for years. That was like 24 hours later. And then 48 hours after my post went up, we actually had contact with Dr. Trimbab, where she had agreed both through Pink and Stonk, the mods that were kind of leading this, to come on and join. And so they have been talking together, like she's talking often, like very often with them, while she was reviewing a couple of my posts, the Everything Short and then the House of Cards. And it's awesome to see her involvement and to see her. I really think that she has just been so underappreciated and underreported and undercovered, and it's a dang shame, because it took us a group of apes like months to start digging in and finally uncover this. That was like the core of the issue, and it took us months to be able to explain that in a way for people to understand, like, what is a naked short versus what is a short, what is a naked short, what are these phantom shares. And so the terminology took a long time for everybody to finally say, okay, that doesn't seem right. And then boom, you drop this bomb where you've got Dr. T coming in, and for her to be lurking in the sub this entire time. So people that have been asking questions, I'm sure she's getting ideas and has things that she wants to cover. So we're incredibly excited about that. So having her on here, I'm actually going through, like, I've got her book that I finished reading last night, and in conjunction with the stuff that I've been putting together for the House of Cards 2, the format of this AMA, so we've got a pretty hard cut at an hour because she's got some stuff coming on. I would love to have her come back and do some follow-ups.
Okay.
We'll discuss that too, but basically the flow of this is going to go from, her walking in, doing introductions, appreciating her coming on, and then we're going to jump into kind of, because the post is what I think people are most readily familiar with, to have her provide the feedback that she gave me. So she gave me some write-ups and some complimentary, some constructive points and some clarifications. So she'll have the floor to basically walk through and then tie those points in with her book. So the first half, really, we're going to spend some time covering some questions from the crowd, questions of how they relate to the post, and then providing supplemental info without spending too much time on my post. I want her to spend more time on the book, but it's just easier for her to address the post, which is what everybody is within this forum is more readily familiar with. So go ahead.
I was going to say, some people are saying you read this book in a day. Speed reader over here. Very, very good.
Oh, yeah, man. You know what's crazy? So seriously, this is wild. Like this, I cut through this like hot butter, because it was like every page was confirmation bias. It's like jacked. It was awesome. And the book is available on Kindle, and that's what I bought. It's like $10. You buy the Kindle version. I also bought another one of her books for $10, trying to read both of them, but I got through this one. And in the table of contents, like I'm actually gonna pull it up because I got it right here. I'm gonna go to the table of contents. I'm gonna show this to you.
Okay.
When I hit the table of contents, my level of expectation for this book went like through the roof. I'm gonna hold this up, and I hope that you can see.
Yeah.
Can you see the part where it says by 2003, everybody knew the problem?
Yes. Resistance from Wall Street. Everyone knew the problem by 2003.
Yeah.
Wow.
So chapter 14, Resistance from Wall Street, everybody knew by 2003. I about dropped. Like, I was like, I hope there aren't going to be people that are like, you're trying to plagiarize, or you're trying to take it and take the book that she wrote and just write an article on it. I just went to the DTC's website and started looking at rule changes. And when I got to 2003, this one rule sticks out. Talks directly about naked shorting. And I'm like, that is extremely applicable. So that's what I wrote the post on and did some more research on it. And then her book is all about that being a pivotal moment in this whole charade that we've got going on. So it was just, it was crazy. I started reading it Friday night. I read through about half of the book by Sunday, and then I finished it up yesterday. And I was just going through highlighting sections and just taking notes, and talking about that, along with providing supplemental info from the AMA intake form that we've got up on the subreddit within Superstonk. So we've got points that she was talking about here for the past 30 years. We've got questions that are directly related from the community. I've got points tying that into the House of Cards too. This thing is going to be a bomb, dude. This thing is going to go off. And the best part, personally, I believe, is that every time it seemed like I was watching a lot of, trying to get as much information on her as I could. I was watching a lot of her interviews and recordings that she's done with people over the past year, especially talking about this. It seems like if she gets onto a talk show with a radio talk show host, they'll talk with her, and then the next day they've got someone else on. So the problem is, like, it's this mind F for people that day when they hear it, and then the next day they've got something completely different. And so there's no like consistency, there's no follow up. But this is what we're doing day in, day out. This is like having her on and come and drop this bombshell is just furthering the evidence that we're going to use the next time to build more and to build more. So I really do think this meeting will be consequential for the outcome of the whole GameStop saga. It's going to be huge.
So in that sense, if people haven't had a chance to read Dr. Turnbath's book, are you planning to do a quick bullet point summary for us before we get in the AMA?
So that's what we've got. I've actually got a Word document up that I've been typing up. I've got a bunch of points from her book. Now, we only have an hour, and it's hard to cover all of the stuff in this book in an hour. But with those bullet points, we're gonna go through and talk about any sort of miscommunications with the post, and then we're going to talk about her points from the book and how she can give more insight. That's mainly what her feedback was to me, was more insight in the inner workings of the DTC. And trust me, you guys, this is more effed up than you guys can ever imagine. I'll give you one spoiler right here from her book that kind of goes in conjunction with the post. So my post was talking about how this seems like the DTC kind of knows this is going on, and it seems like they're being sold out to big money. The DTC's review system, right here, I've got it written up. So the DTC has this management info system, and they're fully aware. She tried to bring it to these people's attention to make them fully aware that stock lending and failures to deliver are directly linked. Okay. And so when somebody would submit an issue to the DTC, its management info system would sort the problems that it receives based on the age of the problem and the value of the problem. And this is directly out of her book. I'm reading this from my notes. So high value items are given priority for resolution, right? So the MIS reports, the management info system reports, are delivered to a senior clerk for follow-up on a regular basis. When a stock loan is used to cover a failure at settlement, which is basically, her book is all about, the only way that they're covering their shorts is to borrow another share from someone, and nobody knows who they're borrowing shares from. Okay. So when they would do this, when a stock loan is used to cover failure at settlement, a telephone call is placed to the broker, and it goes something like this. It says, "Hi, I need you to close out that loan by sending the stock now." The clerk usually responds with, "My customer mailed the certificates to me this morning. I should have it out in a couple of weeks." The DTC clerk moves down the list, just like clockwork, right? One issue at a time, going down the list, which contain hundreds of items every day. Her words, not mine. Hundreds of items like this. Meanwhile, anyone with the opportunity and motive can manipulate the price of a stock downward so that the second phone call that's supposed to take place in a couple of weeks never happens, because the lower the value of the item, it has dropped it lower and lower in the priority queue of the MIS. That make sense?